Well, hello everyone. Hopefully my audio is working okay. Not that I'm paranoid, but after last week, I just want to make sure. Uh, I made sure to have my everything together ready just in case, so I have a backup mic ready to go and everything. It's interesting. For the last year, I had a backup mic all the time, and then a couple of months ago, I ended up doing some recording and doing some live streaming of some shows on Bandcamp, and yeah, I took off my backup mic and I just never put it on again because I wasn't having any problems. I didn't think about it. Big mistake. So, always true. Make sure you have your backups ready. So it's a good safety tip. So good. Okay, Jan. Hey, great to see you. You hear me fine. So that is great. No pressure. Whew. Oh, and Andrew on YouTube says audio is working great there too. Yes. Excellent. Okay. So, oh man. Yeah, I know some of you are probably curious what happened. For some of those technically minded people that actually care. The quick version is a couple of things, actually. There were two issues that were causing me problems. One, I had two copies of Explorer.exe running at the same time on Windows 10. And it was confusing. Drag and drop wasn't even working very well. It was having some problems. And it kept confusing me when I was trying to fix it. So I had to get rid of that. But that hindered me fixing or trying to figure out what was wrong with the mic. But it was crazy because the main problem with the mic was a button accidentally got depressed that I haven't pushed in a few years. The phantom power button on the mic. The mic I have is a condenser mic, which needs extra voltage, 48 volts to be precise. Low amperage, but more voltage. And the button got depressed somehow. So I went through the checklist and went through everything, and finally, oh my gosh, that's button I haven't touched in a few years has got depressed. So now you know, and you can make fun of me all you wish. Oh, hey, Mark and Kristen. Great to see you. Great to see you. So yeah, it's been a couple of weeks now. So since you've really heard from me at least, although you saw me briefly last week, and a lot of new crazy stuff going on. So that is exciting. Yeah, yeah. Now, Cassie, hey, great to see you. Fairs are exploding all over. I mean, just in a good way. I got to clarify that in this day and age. No. We're starting to get into that fall series of fairs. So Colorado is done now, and a lot of the fairs that you normally associate with the early fall are starting. So a lot of interesting stuff, and of course you'll see most of them are in the north, but still, we're getting into that fall realm, which I don't know. For some of you who attend a couple of fairs a year, maybe that may not be a big deal, but for those who do the circuit, it's kind of an exciting time. Always fun, that fall season. The closest thing I can compare it to is when people get excited for a sports season, like fall for football. They get really, oh gosh, it's almost about to start. Well, that's kind of how the fall season is for Faire for me. Similar type of feeling. But yeah, so wow, I was reading this article, an interesting one, recently, and oh, Mark made it to Bristol. That's excellent. I hope you had a good time there. That's Faire still going on, so if anybody else wants to go check it out, feel free. But I'd love to hear what you thought about it, Mark. But yeah, I read this article recently about brewing alcohol and how it related to the medieval period. And I mean, doing your own microbrewery at home over the last 20 years has been such a huge fad, a huge thing that has spilled over into the Renaissance fair community, where it's tough to go into the campgrounds at a fair and not see somebody without their own beer, their own Loki, or their own something that they've made. So yeah, I mean, it really has become a huge thing, and apparently medieval mead has become a huge thing as well. And I saw this great article on it, and you can find it easily by searching for medieval mead. It'll be one of the first things that comes up. But for those of you who, I mean, all of you know somebody who's brewed their own beer. It's hard not to these days. Somebody who has something in their garage set up. But mead is something else entirely, and it's become one of those little going on to the extreme or out of the box brewing that people have tried. And the medieval part kind of started, from what I've researched, about 11, 12 years ago, when a translation of a 14th century book of recipes got published. And in it, it had a medieval recipe, a very detailed one, for Bochet mead, which is a type of mead that you start with caramelized honey. So very, very sweet mead. So yeah, that was really interesting. I don't know if any of y'all have had an experience to do with that. Oh yeah, and Jan, you know somebody who brews mead. Yeah, that's been a thing, especially at fairs, but outside of fairs too. But Bochet mead is a type of mead where you use caramelized honey. And the article is interesting because it was somebody who went to the extreme. She was a beekeeper, so she didn't have to get, refined honey or store-bought honey. She could get it straight from the source, and went to the extreme researching to try to figure out the exact ratios from the recipe and to how to even collect the honey, how they used to in medieval times. They didn't just drain the honey out. They collected the whole hive, where you had, they scraped it all out, the comb and everything, and used it. So yeah, it definitely a slightly different taste. And some of the ingredients were kind of interesting, everything from ginger to grain of paradise as ingredients. And it was very, very interesting description as far as what the flavor was like. Now, generally, I'm not an alcohol person too much, believe it or not. And mead, never been a huge thing, but I've got to admit, this sounds pretty cool. So I'm going to try to track some Bochet mead and see how that tastes, because I have not tried that. It sounds very sweet and interesting. So anyway, something to check out. I thought that might be interesting for some of y'all. Nice to see once again how pursuit of medieval history rears its head in the modern world. At least I've always liked that. So yeah, as far as fairs go, like I said, we've got a good number. And yeah, let's see. Fairs, let me see here. Oh, I just realized I never brought up the fair. I never changed the fair setup on here for the new pick, because I actually worked on the pick, believe it or not. That was a tough one. I found out what the problem was, and that was that whole drag and drop issue. I was having trouble with that, and that was the issue. I couldn't drag and drop, so I couldn't edit the thing in Photoshop. It was quite annoying, actually. Yeah, quite annoying. So here we go. Now I can bring up the fair list so we can take a look at that. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah. So now here we go with the list of fairs. Now, like I said, you can see most of them are in the north. So yeah, definitely a lot up there. It's still warm. It's still August in the south, so some warm temperatures, not always the best for fair. So you're still going to get some more in the north there, and a lot in the northeast and northern Midwest. Kind of interesting. But yeah, so let's just go ahead and start on this, and we'll go out to the far west. The only one out there this weekend is out in Utah, which is the Utah Renaissance Fair in Lehi, Utah. I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but that's going to be going on Friday and Saturday. It's Utah, so not Sunday. Makes sense. So yeah, that's over in the west. But then when you get to get a little more over, you can go and see the Midland's Renaissance Revel in Council Bluffs, Iowa. And north of there, then you have the Minnesota Renaissance Festival in Shakopee, Minnesota. And then, of course, just like Mark mentioned, there's the Bristol Renaissance Fair over in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And yes, then you go east a little more and you get the Michigan Renaissance Festival. You know, yay, Michigan Renaissance Festival started in Holly, Michigan. So that's excitement. And yeah, then you get to a cluster of fairs in the Northeast. Kind of interesting. Let's start with the northernmost and go to the New York Renaissance Fair in Tuxedo Park, New York, which I've been to. It's a lot of fun. Then, south of that, you get to the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair in Manheim, Pennsylvania. And then you get to a couple in Maryland. One, which is just a Saturday only at the Medieval Day at Royal Rabbit Vineyards in Parkton, Maryland, near the border, there at the top of Maryland. And then in Annapolis, Maryland, you get the Maryland Renaissance Festival, a classic fall fair. So yeah, we still have some great fairs going on, and definitely nice. And I'm glad to get the map back and get that going, because that was I don't know. Do y'all like the map at all? I really like it. I don't know if y'all appreciate it or if it helps at all or it's interesting to you. But for me, I find seeing a visual reference of what is going on to be a good thing. That it really makes a difference. You can kind of gauge what's out there in a clear, concise way. So yeah, if you like that, I'll keep doing it. But hopefully you do. Okay. Oh, thanks, Jan. Glad to hear you like it. I appreciate that. But yeah, always good. Now, for me, I have been working hard on music. I've been recording a lot for a while now, but working now. I'm on the mixing and mastering part, the final touches of a new CD for DragonCon with my old band, the Brobdingnagian Bards. We're putting out an EP for that, a limited edition EP, and then the plan is to put out a Kickstarter for a full CD version of it with double the songs that are on the EP. But it's never boring. It's an interesting challenge to record and arrange a song remotely with multiple people. I mean, I know you all have gone through that and appreciate it because, well, it's you know how it is to do remote work through the last couple of years, so it's kind of been a thing. But yeah, it's been an interesting process, and I'm very happy with it. And like I said, probably have it mostly done tonight. I might do a couple more touches tomorrow, and then it'll go to press and be delivered just in time for DragonCon. So don't worry, Jan, I'll save you one. But that's kind of what I've been doing, and that's I'm glad, because I got away from music too much, and it's good to get back. It's always fun. Okay, well, let's go ahead to 7 Reasons, because I know Kristen is probably suffering from 7 Reasons withdrawal. It's great that she made it over, because I know she's been traveling a lot and is got a long way from Texas now. But here we go. 7 Reasons. Now, today's 7 Reasons is 7 things people don't expect to see at Faire for their first time. So here we go. 7 things people don't expect to see at Faire their first time. So number 7. Wow. Except I misspelled that. Wow. Hold on. This is not my best day here. Sorry, guys. There we go. Non-period garb. Non-period garb. Well, yeah. I mean, you see garb that might, it is garb. It's not just regular clothes. but it's not necessarily from the period of the fair. People who've going to fair the first time, it's Queen Elizabeth or Henry VIII or Musketeers or something like that. That's what they expect to see. They kind of expect it to be that genre, that time frame, that range, just in a naive way. If assuming they know history at all, that's kind of what they expect. But at fairs, it never turns out that way. People will do so many different types of costumes, so many different types of garb, depending on what they have in their closet or just what they're in the mood for. And of course, you'll get the cosplay from conventions and fantasy and that kind of thing. But you'll get all over the place. And sometimes, like I remember the first time I saw like a African warrior garb at a fair, and I was kind of like, in the court of Henry VIII? Okay, that's a little different. And then, the whole samurai outfit. And at first I was kind of like, I don't know. But then it kind of hit me, hey, compared to what a lot of people are wearing, it's in the same time period. And I totally respect that. And after a first, I'm not sure kind of feeling, then it kind of hit me of, no, this is actually brilliant. I totally approve that. And that's kind of grown over time where you'll see different influences. So yeah, definitely good. Number 6. The number 6 thing people do not expect to see at fair their first time going. Real animals. I mean, yeah, it always surprises me. People who go for the first time, like, oh my gosh, you've got like camels and elephants and horses and, all of these different things that they don't really, it kind of surprises them. They don't associate a Ren Fair with like a zoo type thing where you have tons of animals and different types of animals. And depends on the fair. Smaller fairs don't usually have as much of that, but still, it's always a surprise for them. So I always like to, it's always fun to go to a fair with somebody when it's their first time, because it's like going to Disney World with a kid. You get to relive it in their eyes. Number 5, real jousters, because one thing that's started to be more popular at fairs, I've noticed over the years, is to actually do a joust. When I first started doing fairs, or going to fairs, it was all very choreographed, all very fake. I mean, not to criticize or say that they're not doing a lot of work. They're stuntmen, essentially, so give them a lot of credit. But yeah, I mean, it got to a point where a lot of groups are doing it where they don't know who's going to win. They go out and there's a lot of safety involved, and they're not using the same type of equipment that they used back then. But I mean, they're really trying to win the joust, and you can tell. And I really appreciate that. I don't think it's the only way to do it. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's a fun way to do it. So definitely nice. Number 4, niche food, because, well, normally people think of a turkey leg, and they think of things like that, a soup bowl kind of thing. But you'll get some really great different types of food. I mean, whether it's healthy or oh yeah, I totally agree with that. You'll get some of them where they take it seriously. For them, it's not just a play acting all the time and adjusting. I agree. But yes, you'll get food that for people with allergies, for gluten-free options. You'll get Greek foods at some places. You'll get French pastry. You'll get German food. I mean, they'll try to make it a lot more, pick different regions and try to do food. And then they'll just do modern food. Popular stuff like you get at a state fair. I mean, you'll get that too. It's a really huge mix, and often it depends on the fair. I think over time, especially fairs that have been around for a while, kind of developed a style that the local population appreciates, and it's kind of built up over that. Because fairs, there's a lot of things at fairs that are the same no matter what fair you go to, but food is not one of them. I found there's a lot of food differences at different fairs, and it makes fairs very. It's one of the things that makes fairs very unique, in my opinion. And yeah, I assume that was Drew because of the high end, but I wasn't sure. But yeah, and of course the way you phrased that, actually trying to kill each other, that sounded like you. Let's be honest here. Number three, modern conveniences. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people who go to fair for the first time assume that, they're going to be roughing it, and it's going to be it's going to be tough. That they should bring a picnic lunch and lots of water because there won't be much available and all of that. I mean, they don't know, especially if they don't have anybody telling them this is what it's going to be like. And yeah, I definitely recommend if you go to fair for the first time, go with somebody who has been. It helps. But still, I mean, people seem surprised by that, of all the modern conveniences. And the thing is, what they do at fair that I don't think people always understand is it's kind of like it's an idealized version of history. It's like, let's take the stuff we like from history and ignore the other stuff. I mean, they'll throw in, some little history lessons of some of the bad stuff too. Maybe put it in the scenario with the acting so that they can portray that, usually with the villain in the scenario. But yeah, I mean, they don't, you don't want to go to a place that isn't fun. So they want to make sure it's fun, and I totally respect that. Believe me. I would not be doing fairs now if back when I first started they didn't do it that way, honestly. Well, I probably would have gone a few times, but not as often. Number two, modern music. And that's kind of an interesting thing because there's actually very little medieval music or even Renaissance music out of all of the music you heard at fair. The percentage is actually very small. A lot of the classic Ren Fair songs people sing along to, they're not old. Wild Rover, Whiskey in the Jar, all that kind of thing, not from the Renaissance. I mean, you'll do a lot of Irish pub songs and that kind of thing, but it's not Renaissance or medieval. And there are some groups that specialize and do that, and a few groups that will play a few of those songs, but most of it's actually fairly modern relatively, 17, 1800s and 1900s sometimes. Istampita is a very good example. And yeah, Drew, you're right. You don't want accuracy. But yeah, Istampita, totally a good example. On Life's a Fair, of course, you've seen the Tolston Troubadours. So they're another good example of try to do more medieval. Yeah, and Drew's right. Baird's Privateers. A lot of the pub songs you hear, not old. And a lot of them are 20th century, believe it or not. The interesting thing was in the 50s, there's the beginning of a revival in folk music, which was a resurgence of the old style of music. Rock was getting big, and that was, rock and roll, and then folk music kind of was, well, let's go the other way with that and go more traditional. And it helped bring back the mandolin as a popular instrument. It helped bring back the recorder as a popular instrument. So, not gonna say anything about it. But some of the style was more old world, mostly 1800s. But yeah, definitely. Cantiga's always fun. Oh yeah, Tolston Troubadours, classic. So yeah, modern music, and most of what I do play some traditional songs, especially tunes. Some of the tunes I play are Renaissance or medieval, but a lot of the songs, I mean, part of the problem with the real old stuff is that style-wise, it really goes against what most people want or like or expect. I think partly because of that folk revival, people think that old style music sounds like that, and it really doesn't. It's sort of like a merging of the old style and new style. I know I'm oversimplifying for musicologists out there, but yeah, it's more of a stretch. So Anyway, I'll play a few modern tunes just on the recorder just to show the range. I'll play a jazz piece, or I'll play an 80s pop piece just to show what the recorder can do. But generally, I try to stay away from that and as much as I can, uh, because if I do that too much, I think it just takes away a little bit of the magic of Faire. And Faire is kind of an illusion. It's an illusion of what that time sort of was like, and I think that's the best way to do it. Like Drew said, you don't want accuracy when it comes to that too much, especially in medieval times. Ouch. Number one, the art in artisan. I mean, people go and I'm always amused by how people will go to the shops and be like, wow. This day and age, they're so used to shopping from Amazon and getting things, and the quality, they're not made to last. They're not made by a person, they're made by machine. And you'll get a lot of artistic quality and uniqueness in a lot of the pieces that the merchants are selling. And people are really amazed and surprised. Now, the price is, of course, more expensive, and you get the sticker shock thing, but it's worth it because that you see it and you're just like, this is different. And I think that's one of the best things about Faire. It gets you away from that buy, use once, and throw away mentality that I think companies like Amazon have kind of put in your head. They weren't the first ones, so it's not just them. It's been a mentality for decades, but it just keeps getting worse. But yeah, so I really, really like that. Oh, okay. Tullsbury to box, okay. But yeah, anyway, that's the 7 reasons for today. Excellent. Always fun. Wow. Oh, so yeah, I'm sorry I'm a little spacey today. I've been working all weekends nonstop on music, and it's I'm a little I haven't had much sleep. But that's kind of what you do with the deadline, and it's fun because you just dive into the deep side of the pool and surround yourself with music, and every once in a while that is a fun thing to do, and I don't think I do it enough, honestly. So it's nice to get back to that. So yeah, hopefully a lot of great things in the future and some fun stuff. I'm going to keep, usually when I start getting into this mode of working on music, I keep it going for several months. So even after I finish this, I'm going to keep recording and keep working on things. So you should hear a lot more from me with music in the near future. And I'll try to present a few things to y'all. Oh, yeah, Drew's saying he's had one of his pewter mugs for at least 25 years. And that's another thing to think about. Think about the stuff you buy at Faire for your garb, accessories and all that, and how long they usually last. They last a long time. They're designed to. They're made well, and they're made right. Yeah, the price is a premium, but you don't have to worry about it breaking, usually. Everything they put in there, it might be a little more expensive, but it's going to last, and it's the right way to do it. And I love that. I love that. So nice. So nice. Oh, Jan, yeah, I'm appreciate that. Yeah, I love the new music too. It's going to be great. I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it. Don't worry, we'll save you a CD from Dragon Con. I do not worry. Yeah, for me, Dragon Con will be coming up in actually very shortly. Not this weekend, but next weekend. And then, yeah, I will be. I'm still gonna see about doing a Monday show. Not sure if I can do it. I'm going to try. A lot of it's going to depend on my internet connection at the hotel there in Atlanta. So this coming up Monday, not a problem. The following Monday, we'll see. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try to do a show then too. Should be fun. And yeah, after that, the weekend after that, I will be coming back to Austin to do the Celtic Festival. here at Sherwood, so the Sherwood Celtic Festival. And then I'll be going right back out, going to Indianapolis to do Gen Con and having fun there. So yes, I will be surrounded by vaccinated people and well masked. Don't worry. We are going to take every precaution we can and then make up a few new ones because it is a crazy time. But I signed a contract, so I'm going with it. Yeah, no anxiety at all. Can you tell? So yeah, it'll work out well. It'll work out well. And then after that, I'll have a little time to work on some projects, and then I'll be off to Louisiana. But I will be for the Louisiana Red Fair, but I'll be making sure that I have decent internet there. So should not be a problem. Should not be a problem. What Kathy said? When did she say that? It was way up there somewhere? I must have missed that. I'm not seeing that post. Well, okay. Anyway, well, thanks again for staying in touch, and I will see you next week. I'll have a lot more information there because I'll have gotten a little more sleep and be all ready to go for DragonCon, because by then, if I'm not ready, there's a problem. Because I'll be heading out the day after. So have a good time, have a great week, and even though life isn't always fair, it's good to have a fair life. So take care.